the music, Chris. It's my fault. Stand by.
Hey everyone, welcome back to SoVery, Kristi. So excited that you are tuning in with us today. We have a great show in store for you today. I am Krisiti Phillips, I'm your host, and I'm a singing hairdresser. So for my regular viewers, you all know that I have an amazing co-host by the name of Jen Johnson, and she is my BFF, my life coach, and she's also a facilitator of a mastermind I'm a part of. And she's just an amazing person and just happens to be my co-host, which I'm so lucky to have her. However, today she's unable to be here because she is held up at jury duty. And but I was kind of freaking out at first because, you know, I'm new to doing this and everything. And then I thought, I know who I can call. And so I called her, and I have an amazing person filling in for Jen's today. She is awesome. She has a lot of words of wisdom, and she has an amazing personality. Meet Jen's too. And so she's going to be here for my support, and I really can't tell you how much I appreciate you filling in for Jen's today. That has just been a lifesaver. And I want to introduce my guest. I just can't wait to bring him on. He is an amazing young man out there just killing it. He is an incredible saxophone player, classically trained, and he has a new company called Thriving Musician, and his name is Spencer Liszt.
Hi. How's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Hi, Jen's too.
Yes, she's here for support. What did you say? Oh yeah, I'll ask him here in just a second. Anyway, so we're so excited to have you here on the show today, Spencer. And Spencer's got a lot of really great nuggets that isn't just for musicians, but also for anyone who is trying to achieve goals and get, you know, where they want to go. And it's all about mindset, right? What do you say?
Yeah. So a lot of what I do is geared towards musicians, but it's definitely for anyone interested in improving their life and especially their finances. That's really what I'm focusing on.
That's awesome. I can't wait to hear about that. And just for new people tuning in, I want to share a little bit of my story and let you know kind of how I got here and everything. And so basically, I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma by the name of Idabel, Oklahoma. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's growing pretty big. Actually, Broken Bow is growing pretty big. That's right next to it. There's a huge lake there that's just amazing. And in fact, a little plug for my brother and his wife, they have a zip line there, and more and more people go there because they have amazing cabins. Anyway, enough about that. But it's awesome. It's called Rougarou Adventures. I didn't even know I was going to do that. Just came out. But anyway, so I grew up in Idabel, Oklahoma, and till about the age of 17. But I started singing and not doing hair. I started singing at the age of 7, and I've always really liked doing hair too because I literally would crawl up in my Uncle Ed's lap and put rollers in his hair at a very young age. And I was influenced by, I guess, the hair and everything with my grandmother being in the hair industry and had a beauty salon there in Oklahoma. And so I've basically been singing and doing hair since I was little. And then I actually got my cosmetology license when I was 15. Well, actually, I was close to 17. I started in school at 15. So I always knew that I wanted to do that. And I was always singing, and I learned to play the piano and did that through high school. And then we didn't really know, my parents and myself, we didn't really know other opportunities. And, you know, even that there were at that time, you know, for singing and music.
Right.
So my next thing was, well, I got to go to college.
Right.
And so I did that. So I moved here 2 days after I graduated from high school and went to college. Went to Richland College first and SMU, all the while doing hair and building my clientele here in Dallas. So I've been here for doing hair and makeup for about 30 years.
Wow.
And I've been in a couple bands and studied with Linda Septian like when I was in my 20s. And now she has this amazing company, Septian Entertainment Group.
Right.
And I went back there about a year and a half ago after a 9-year break and not singing at all, thinking I was over it. But I'm not. So I'm doing it again, and I thought, I got to get my voice back in shape. And no matter, you know, what you're doing, whether it's working out or anything that you want to get to the next level, you need a coach.
Yeah,
Even
definitely.
if you're amazing at what you do, you got to have a coach
Definitely.
to get you and push you through those moments where you're just not feeling it or you're just not motivated or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I went back to Linda, and she has this huge company with a lot of other amazing coaches, and so I do stage presence there, and I'm about to start taking guitar lessons, which I've taken before, but I didn't excel at that. But I want to, get better at that as well. So she pretty much has a lot of things to offer for musicians as well, dancing, singing, playing piano, playing guitar, and just pretty much anything. But so I've been doing that for a year and a half, and I had no idea I was going to have my own show, but here it is, and I'm just having a blast with it, and I love having new guests on each week and learning more about them.
Yeah, wow, that's a really awesome story. I like that you stuck with what you like. Even I have a lot of musician friends who they go off and do music, but maybe they leave behind some of their other passions. So you like to do hairdressing. You kept doing that. I advocate very strongly for that.
Thank you.
I like to hear
and
that.
it pays the bills. And I have a couple other income streams, and
Right.
I think we're going to talk about that a little
Yeah.
bit, but you kind of have to have, more than one, or maybe even more than two these days,
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your story, and how old were you when you got started in music, and what was that like?
So I started before I could remember, actually. I was at a daycare and they taught violin. So,
Oh, wow.
but I don't remember it. So there's a picture of me with holding a violin.
Right.
But my mother used to play all kinds of music on the radio, all genres, even if she didn't like it. She thought, well, if maybe he becomes a country star, then that's fine, even though she wasn't a fan,
Yeah.
So I listened to a lot of music when I was really young. And then I started playing the piano, started taking lessons really early. I can't remember exactly what age, but, 6 or something like that,
Yeah.
really young. And then in 6th grade, I switched to the saxophone in elementary school. I'm not really sure why. I think it was just a cool instrument.
Yeah.
My dad really loved jazz, so I think it just felt natural and felt right. And so, yeah, I attached to music. I mean, I have other passions, like I love hockey and other things like that, but music just took over. So,
were you really good at it right at first? I mean, just right off the bat, like you just picked it up super easy, or?
For saxophone, yes, because I had already learned how to read music from piano lessons when I was really young, which I hated. Like practicing, like I hated going to lessons, but I was really young. But then, of course, now I'm very thankful, because then when I went to switch to saxophone, I was already ahead. I could read music, and a lot of things came a little bit more naturally.
Oh, that's awesome.
But, I can't say that it was easy, though.
Yeah. Now, did you grow up here? Because, I'm friends with your mom, and that's kind of how I met you, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm from Richardson, Texas, so I
Okay.
was born and raised there, born in Plano, raised in Richardson. I went to Richardson High School, and then, so I'm just doing music the whole time through high school, and then I went to SMU actually for 2 years and did classical saxophone, and then transferred to University of North Texas for jazz, and finished my undergrad degree there and went straight into master's. So
Wow.
I finished my master's in May of 2013, and I've been freelancing ever since.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many gigs do you say you probably play a week? I mean, I'm sure it varies, right?
It does vary. It used to be a lot more than it is now. I'm actually trying to move a little bit further away from playing for different reasons, but sometimes it's every day or every night.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes multiple gigs in one day. It really depends. But typically, lately, it's been weekends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it can vary from weddings, private parties. I used to play a lot of bars and clubs, not so much anymore. Brunch gigs, church gigs, whatever.
What's your favorite type of gig to play?
Well, for me, I like playing with big national acts when they come to town, just because they're huge shows. So I've played with a few older acts, like Aretha Franklin was just one of the best shows I've ever played.
Oh,
She's
I can
amazing.
Only imagine. Wow, that'd be incredible.
So it's just fun and exhilarating, and it's a really cool experience. So that's always my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin. I want to do that.
There's a lot of great things when you're on stage, but like I said, with my experience with those, I see a lot of the behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
Which has led to me teaching what I teach musicians now, is to learn the realities of the music industry. Like, what is it really like to, let's say you want to tour the world with your act and play arenas and things. what does that really look like? How much
Mhm.
sleep are you getting? What is the traveling like?
Right.
Are you eating right? I mean, what does your finances look like when you're doing that? And so I kind of have seen that by playing with these acts. They're really awesome when you're playing them, but there's so much else to consider
Yeah.
doing that. You
It
know?
sounds like you have a lot of right and left brain going on because a lot of, well, I don't say, I'll speak my own experience. I think I'm more dominant right,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had to make myself be, and I still, am working on the left brain activities and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you're just saying, you're very young and you just like already are thinking that way and planning and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thinking about the future and what's ahead, what's it going to take, where I'm just
Right.
like, blah, let's do it.
Right. Yeah, the studies that I've done the last few years with the finance aspect of all of these things that I'm teaching has really taught me to remove the emotion and
Mhm.
also plan for the end, plan for your whole life. And so you can apply that to music, you can apply it to everything. And it's super logical and realistic, but when you do that, you can measure everything and you can achieve anything once you know what's
Yeah.
possible.
So
what's
when
really
did
happening.
this like mindset shift happen?
Yeah, so there's actually a pivotal moment. Of course, it's happened slowly over the years, but I was in the middle of, it was August of 2015. I had been out of school for a couple years, performing regularly, and making a living as a musician. That was my goal for the longest time. I wanted to prove to myself and to everybody that that was possible. And I was doing it, but then the summer of 2015, I went on a tour with a band to the West Coast, and it was really fun. It didn't pay a whole lot, but it was just really awesome experience. And then right after that tour, my family went to Italy, which was my first time out of the country, to celebrate my grandmother's birthday. And that was really special too, but it was like 5 weeks straight of traveling, and which means 5 weeks of no
I
income.
think that's when I met your mom.
Really?
2015?
2015?
I think.
Wow.
It's 18. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it's
so.
been 3 years.
Yeah,
almost. Wow. So 5 months of no income and 5 months of spending money. And so my mom always taught me how to save. She's a saver. She grew up poor, and she learned how to save and taught me. So I always had kind of a bed to lay on in my account. Even if it was $1,000, it was there just in case. Kind of an emergency. But I was, I was never rich, or I never felt, wealthy, or I had extra money. I just always knew I had something, and so I did have that mindset a little bit. But after the 5 weeks of traveling, no income, and spending a lot, I came back from the traveling, and I think it was $67 in my bank account. And, I'm a freelance musician.
Feeling.
Yeah, I don't have a steady job.
Right.
And so it was very strange feeling. And I just thought, musicians shouldn't have to live like this. They shouldn't have to feel this way and look at their bank account and feel worthless, right? You look at your account, and in some ways that can determine how you feel about yourself. And I just thought that it's not right. And so I immediately started studying. Actually, my mom happened to give me a book around the same time. I don't think it was on purpose, Mom. I'll ask. But it was
she's lecturing me occasionally. Said, Kristi, now you need to do this. Hey, I'll take advice from anyone who has something in a different way that I don't have.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I used to read when I was a kid, but I wasn't reading a lot. But she recommended this book that I'm sure you've read, The Slight Edge.
Yes, I have. It's amazing book.
Yeah, so I recommend it to everyone that I talk to now.
So that's number one tip, Slight Edge.
Yes. And it changed everything. And of course, I was open to it. You know, if you're not open to change or just changing your mindset, it's not going to work.
You gotta be coachable in anything that you do.
Exactly. So that book just set everything off, and that led to studying more about investing, like money, and which led to real estate, actually. So I started reading like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I started listening to podcasts and just consuming as much as I could for a few years. And
that's awesome.
Everything changed from there.
That's great. That's great. So, we hear a lot being around musicians that starving artists stigma. Do you think that is, real?
So it is real in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I'm saying it right, but there's a book that was written, I think it's 1847. It's Henri Murger, I think. He's a French lyricist or poet and novelist.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote this book, Scenes de la Vie Bohème. So it's the life of a Bohemian, I think.
Uh-huh.
And it romanticizes poverty, and it ended up being redone into like movies like Moulin Rouge and Rent. And so it's just seeped into the culture.
So those came from that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So we romanticize poverty as, artists have to suffer to create their art.
Mm-hmm.
And I read this in a book. It's actually called Real Artists Don't Starve. And it was like perfect. It's like, this is exactly what I want to learn about. And
that's awesome.
I think it's Jeff Goins is the author. He talks about this story, and he counters that with artists like Shakespeare and Michelangelo. Like Michelangelo owned a ton of real estate in Florence at the time, but nobody knew. They thought he was just a poor artist.
Right.
So in our minds, we think starving artists is the norm.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, I guess it's not the case.
Yeah, you got to leverage yourself.
Yeah.
In some way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are some things that you think would be, how can musicians start to thrive? What can they start doing? And it may take time, but little by little that they can start, utilizing.
Yeah, the first thing is to self-educate. Knowledge is almost free these days, right? We have the internet, lots of books and podcasts, and there are online schools that are actually free. And I think people think it might take a long time to learn these things. But it happens a lot quicker than you think. Like my story about having $67, I think it was a year and a half after that month I bought my first condo. So, I thought it would take like 5 years.
Right.
And it just doesn't once you get started. But so self-education is the first thing. And then some topics that I start teaching and what people should start learning: financial literacy, saving, retirement, investing, how to do your taxes. That's a huge one for musicians. A lot of musicians I talk to don't know how to do their taxes as a freelancer. Of course, the mindset is kind of the connector for all of these things. The music business, how to be an entrepreneur, multiple streams of income, how to increase your value and how to provide value to other people.
Yeah.
So
that's a big one too.
Yeah.
Because, if you can get outside of yourself and think about, how can I give someone else value, then that, will catapult you too, because then you're not just thinking about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I like to say, because people think about what I teach is, how to make more money, or it's all about the money.
Yeah.
And first off, money is just a tool. Money does not mean
I don't know about you, but I prefer to have some.
Yeah, it gives you options.
It gives you options. You can help people more than you're just yourself. So it's all your perception about money too. Money mindset too, which Jen's, she talks about that a lot. She talks about mindset and money mindset and how you've got to shift all of that, and before you change anything, you got to change this.
Yeah.
So
definitely. So I like to.
Wouldn't you agree? I mean, Jen's too. Yeah.
Yep. Say nothing if you agree.
Okay. Well, maybe not a thumbs up.
So I like to say that money can't be the purpose. Money is simply a consequence.
Right.
So if your purpose is to help other people, well then money, might and most likely will be a consequence of it, but that can't be your purpose.
That's true. There's always a bigger picture. And so we've talked about some of the books that people can read, and maybe I'll list those after the show. That's what I'll do. I'll list some of these books so that, if you didn't catch it, I'll have it in the comments or whatever on Facebook or Instagram, so that you can, or reach out to me, and I'll definitely find out what books you were talking about, because I don't think I can remember.
I have a huge list too.
Good.
I'll give you.
Awesome. There was one of those I think I want to read. And so if someone wanted to get a hold of you, so how does this work with your business, The Thriving Musician? Like,
So I have a few different ways, well, that I teach. I teach courses. And they're online right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not available right now. I'm testing them and making them better before I kind of make them public again. But those will become available again soon. I have a blog on my website, and I have an Instagram where I share a lot of just little tidbits of, motivation, but also just things that you can take away, especially for your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also do coaching. So one-on-one
yeah.
for now.
Awesome.
So it'll eventually build into more things and more options, but SpencerLiszt.com is where that is. And I even have a tab for it because my website is for me as a musician, but I also have a separate tab for Thriving Musician, and it's all there.
And if someone needed to get a hold of you to play, or
yeah, definitely.
And so you do solo or 3-person big band.
It's a lot of different things.
You can do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whether you have a small venue or a large one, you could probably find the people to.
Yeah, definitely. And I also do, so like we talked about multiple streams of income, I do contracting for different things. So even if it's not me performing, I find bands to play.
Right.
And so I play all the saxophones.
I may need you for that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yes, I definitely do. We'll have to talk after this show.
Definitely.
Yeah, I need a guitar player. I got
plenty of those.
And I need a cajon player.
Perfect. Got them.
To start with. Okay, so if anyone out there knows a great guitar player or a cajon player, then please have them.
Tag them in the comments.
Yes, exactly. And so, speaking of multiple streams of income, my Kristiology for today is a amazing product that I cannot live without. And actually, tell me and your mom, Matt.
I think my mom uses this.
Yes.
Miriam.
Yes, it is incredible. And I just thought, I'm going to share this because I know a lot of new people now, and it pays my car payment. So, you can't hate that, right? And so I want to show you a couple of before and after pictures of my first 30 and 60 days with this product. And it's just a night cream. I didn't bring it with me. I'm going to put it up in my picture later, but I forgot. But anyway, Rick, if you could put those up for me, that would be awesome. So this is, believe it or not, you don't want to show these until you have the after. So this is 30 days with just the Nerium night cream, using it every day. Yeah, I know. Wow. Rick's saying, wow. Okay. What do you think, Jens, too? I mean, that's incredible. I mean, you can't really see her neck. She looks pretty smooth. But wrinkles, dark spots, it's for your face and neck and chest, and multiple concerns, which I have multiple. Wrinkles, brown spots, texture, tightening. It does all of that. So this is 30 days. And do you have the other one?
1 second.
And so everybody has an area that they don't like or like the least or have the most concern with, and mine was my lips. And so this picture, I believe, has 30 days. The second one is 30 days after using, and the next one's 60 days after using. So, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I like the 60 days better. But, yeah, so it's just, less lines, less wrinkles. I think it tightened up something right down here. I don't know. I'm looking a little crooked in the first picture. But anyway, Nerium Age-Defying Night Cream is amazing. Wow. That is Kristiology for this week.
Kristi, that is impressive.
Is that impressive?
That is very impressive.
It is. And, I've been using it, and it's been 5 years now, I think. And I freak out. Like, I don't want to go back. I mean, that's a lot of, years of sun damage. I mean, they say you get all that damage when you're a kid, really.
And it shows up later.
Yeah. And so I hope nothing else comes up later. I just feel like my Nerium will protect me now. So I'm like, can I get just a little bit of sun? Just a little bit. But I don't go out there and do what I used to do, which was crazy. With, back in the olden days, we used to use Jen's too. I don't know if you know, but I know Jen's would know about this. The mat. We used to lay on these silver reflective mats. Or I'd get up on the roof and lay out like an idiot. Can you believe that? Isn't that crazy? I would never do that now.
Long?
As long as I could stand the sweating profusely, dying in the heat.
I think Jen's 2 needs some sun.
I mean, I don't think Jen's 2 has ever had any sun. I mean, I shouldn't have. If I had porcelain skin like Jen's 2, I'd be like good to go. But anyway, so that is the typology or Kristiology of the week. So
my mom uses that.
yeah,
She loves it.
it's incredible. Like I love it, I love it, I love it. But anyway, so multiple streams of income. That's another
Yeah.
one of mine. I mean, you got to
Yeah.
have different little things going on, you know, because I know doing hair, you know, I only get paid when I'm standing behind the chair.
Right,
So I
it's active.
had to start leveraging
Yeah.
myself, you know.
Yeah, you said something interesting about it pays your car payment.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that I teach, assets versus liabilities. So
Mm-hmm.
a car, you know, gets you from point A to point B, and that's an asset. But like your car payment might be a liability. But if you have a business that pays for that payment, well, then if your assets can pay for your liabilities, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's okay to have the car because you're not paying for
And
it.
I really like the car. Like, it's nice.
I saw it in the parking lot.
I really like it. And, you know, you don't ever want to go backwards, right?
Right.
You don't want to ever downsize, so to speak. But, you know, so what other advice do you have that I know you have a lot. And
Yeah, I could go for days.
And, you know, I wish I'd thought about it early enough to play one of your, you know, songs, because you have an album, right?
Yeah, and it's on my website too, so people can just listen to it for free on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't even asked your mom or anything, but I'm going to ask you, do you write songs too, or do you just do covers, or what? Or
so mostly when I perform, it's with other groups. You know, we're playing top 40 stuff, or we're playing whatever artist I'm playing with, playing their music.
Right.
But my album is all my music.
Oh, awesome.
The album came out in 2013, so it's been a while, and I have a second album written, but I haven't recorded it yet. I'm kind of waiting.
Yeah.
Taking care of other things.
Right.
But yeah, I do write. I don't write too often, but when I do, it's going to be recorded. So I can and I will, but it's kind of few and far between. It's usually just when I'm feeling inspired by something. So, but I'm not the kind of writer who writes every day or practices it. I mean, of course, I studied at school.
So when you write, are you writing just instrumental, or are you writing?
It's a little bit
lyrics?
of both.
Is
Yeah, it's I don't write like typical song form like pop music. I guess it's probably more poetic stuff. So usually the lyrics, they don't repeat or anything like that. And it might even be just a few words. And it's kind of for the listener to kind of just take what they want from it. But yeah, I have been getting more and more into that because I used to, never listen to lyrics. As an instrumentalist, I only listen to the instruments. But now I'm starting to appreciate lyrics more and enjoy writing a little bit more.
Well, I guess you just had to kind of immerse yourself. Did you feel like it was distracting to do the lyrics since you were really focused on the instrumental part?
Yeah, in a way. But now I'm more open to all of that. So
yeah,
it's kind
that's
of all
cool.
together.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So I write both. Some people ask, do you write the lyrics first or the song first? And I don't necessarily have a method, so I don't have advice there.
Yeah.
I kind of do it all at once for me.
Yeah.
Do you write songs?
Such a cool. I'm starting to.
Awesome.
I'm starting to do that.
That's really great.
And I'm working on a couple right now.
Get your story out. Tell your story through your music.
Yeah, and I'm a baby at it though.
That's okay.
It's good. I always was the baby of the family, and then the baby of the salon, and now I always got to find some way to still be a baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the baby of writing music. But it's fun, and I wouldn't say it's scary, but you just got to get that doubt out of there and do it anyway.
Yeah, isn't that what life's all about?
Yes.
I mean, you could do hair all the rest of your life, but you know what that's like, So you're going back into this new thing. You're just writing songs. It's new and exhilarating,
and doing new stuff is really inspires other areas of your life too, because everybody gets in a rut, right? No matter what it is that you do, if you do the same thing every day, and no hair client wants you to be in a rut, right? So
yeah, right.
Then you're like, what would you do to my hair this week? I'm like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
But now, I feel like a little more inspired. Like I feel like I'm doing it a little bit better, and just in a spark, in life, really.
Do you feel like when you cut hair, the end result is like a reflection of your mood at the time? Like, do you feel like this happens with musicians a lot, the way they play is their current mood?
I do. I don't think that I ever do it well. I don't ever think I do hair badly. and I did probably have a period a long time ago. Probably no one I know now. I was not in a very good space,
Yeah.
and I definitely know it reflected in my work.
Yeah.
I don't think I ruined anyone's hair, just so you know. But I definitely was not proud of a lot of things, but I think it can. And then, I think some hairdressers and some people let it show through, but eventually, if things keep going badly long enough, it can't help but bleed over into your work life, into every area. Even if you didn't notice it or realize it, it has to. Even if it's just in the way that you interact with people.
Everyone else notices it.
Even if, like, oh, the hair was good or the highlights were good, but maybe the conversation wasn't good, or maybe it was, I was too Debbie Downerish or whatever.
Right.
I mean, because, it happens, life is life, but, nobody wants to get their hair done and they want to be brought up.
Right.
So, we try. We can't be perfect all the time, but we try. And I feel like, these days I'm amazing. So you should come see me.
Exactly.
And I'm in a great space, and I'm really blessed to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Jen's too. How are you feeling? Her hair's nice. Did you do her hair?
I did not do her hair. I do Jen's hair, but I did not do her hair. But it's looking pretty cute. I mean, yeah, I like it. I like her eyelashes. We did some eyelashes right before, and it looks cute.
Oh man.
But anyway, so I tell you what, it's been great having you here. But I do have one more question for you.
Yeah.
So if you had a theme song, what would that be?
So we talked about this, and the only thing I could think of was one of my favorite songs. I don't know if it represents me or not.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite saxophonists, Joshua Redman. His song "Put It in Your Pocket," and all my musician friends know this song.
Yeah. So okay, the type of sax you play,
So I play all of them.
Oh, you do? Okay.
So there's soprano, alto, tenor, and bari, and of course there's like other ones too. That are really small and really big. Yeah.
Oh.
You don't see them that often. Yeah. So
most people, if you can play one, you can play them all, and then.
Sort of. In a way. A lot of people don't though.
Yeah.
They don't try. Yeah, they just kind of stick to one, and that's totally cool. I started playing bari sax, which is really big, really low. I love that one. But,
and it's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mainly play tenor now because it's just a better range. So the smaller you get, the higher the range is. So the notes are a lot higher. Just like soprano, alto, tenor, bass singers.
Yeah. So the higher if it's a soprano, it's a smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's Kenny G, like just straight, small soprano.
Yeah.
And then alto is just kind of a regular looking sax. It's a smaller one. It looks really small on me.
Yeah.
And then tenor's kind of what most people think of when they think of the saxophone. It has like the curved neck. And then bari's just massive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, really low.
Yeah.
So, but I do play tenor a lot because the range is great and most gigs call for that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the moneymaker.
Yeah, well, you got to do that. You got to know how to play the tenor sax then, for sure.
But I also play flute, clarinet, and bass clarinet, and I know how to play bassoon, but I don't play it.
So once you play a wind instrument, so are they similar enough to where you could be so versatile to learn the others so easily?
In a way, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They all have little differences. Flute, completely different than the rest. The clarinet and bass clarinet, very similar to saxophone. Bassoon, no, it's incredibly difficult. Bassoon and oboe players are crazy.
And they probably are, if you played something like that, you'd pretty much have to be in a, symphony or something, right?
There's smaller ensembles for classical, but yeah, orchestras could do recordings.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and a lot of musicians teach, which is cool. They find ways to make income.
Do you teach?
I used to. I don't. I say I don't like to, but that's not the truth. So because I like teaching musicians this stuff about finance and mindset and business. So I do like teaching. I did not like teaching private lessons for various reasons. You kind of have to chase money, you have to chase parents down, make sure you're getting paid. Scheduling can be difficult. A lot of people that I know, they travel to a lot of different schools. I think there are ways to do it right, but I just didn't have a great experience over the years. So I've taught middle school, high school, and at college. So I know all the different levels. And for me, if I do teach music to someone, I prefer them to be advanced.
Yeah, I was gonna
Because-
say,
Yeah,
yeah, because they're serious. You
Mhm.
know, I think kids can be fun, but they're not always serious. They don't really know yet, you know.
right. So I hate to say this, but I know a lot of friends, they call it babysitting. You know, parents drop them off and you basically watch their kid for an hour. And
I tell you what, this is really funny, and I don't even know if this is worth talking about. I'm gonna say it anyway. So when I used to take piano,
uh-huh.
I would go in and literally, I like to clean.
hmm
My mom would pick me up, and I would be cleaning. I would be doing the dishes.
Like where you were taking lessons?
Serious. Yes.
Wow.
I don't know how that even happened. And then the other thing that I would do, which was not good, because when I went to college, I had to start over, which I didn't like that. But I learned to play by ear because I would just ask her, hey, I hope she's not listening. I would say, hey, can you just play that for me and let me hear how it goes? And then I would just get the timing and everything, and then I would go home and figure it out and do it over and over and over and memorize it. So I just memorized. I
Yeah.
didn't really learn it the way that would have benefited me later.
That's okay
And
though.
I would be doing dishes sometimes when mom would pick me up, and it would make her so mad, which I would be furious if that was me picking up my kid.
Right. That's interesting you say that about playing by ear because I learned how to play by reading music, and that's great. It's a great skill to have. But now I'm moving towards just playing by ear.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I don't bring music to gigs anymore. I mean, unless it's certain gigs you just.
I'm
have
not
to
sure I
read.
could do it today, maybe after a little practice. But, you know, I also learned to play the bass guitar
Oh, awesome.
in this one band I was in by the number system. But I don't
Yeah.
remember it now.
Right. You
You
would
know-
pick it up. It's like riding a bike.
But the bass was fun. I
Yeah.
did that for a little while.
Wow.
I wouldn't say I'm a bass player. It looks cool.
Yeah.
It looks really cool. But yeah, so that's kind of my next thing I want to tackle is not the bass, but, you know, guitar.
So you said
Yeah.
you're looking for a guitar and a cajon. Is this for your music?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes, because I want to start doing more, you know, other kinds of gigs, you know. And Linda, my voice coach, was telling me, you got to get this and you got to get that, and let's get you booked. So I'm like, let's do it.
Excellent.
I'm coachable. I
Yeah.
just say yes. And you know how this came about is I was going to be on Jen's show. She's
Uh-huh.
and that's another thing. Jen Johnson is having her show starting up on June 4th. So
Oh, cool.
we're really excited about that, and it's going to be great. And I was like,
Awesome.
cool, I'm going to be on Jen's show. And then my voice coach was like, you need your own show. And Jen was like, yeah, you need your own show. And I'm like, okay, no.
There you go.
And
Here
here
we
I
are.
am, and I'm so glad I did because this has been a blast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And so I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And every week I'm going to be here. Now, next week, we're going to be switching. My time is going to go to 2 o'clock, and then Jen's on the 4th will be at 3 o'clock. Is that right, Rick? Anyway,
We'll double check.
We'll double check that, but I just want to let everyone know that Jen's is starting her show coming up, and my time will be moving to 2 o'clock on Mondays. So, and the other thing is I'm going to start doing Music Mondays,
Oh.
where I can have musicians on that. The first Monday of the month will be Music Mondays, and they can actually sing or play a cappella,
Awesome.
you know, or whatever, and just do some fun stuff, you know, for the hour, and just have music. And
Excellent.
I think that would be cool.
That'd be great. I can recommend
Yeah.
infinite musicians.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. So look forward to that. Music
Awesome.
Mondays, first Monday of the month. June 4th, Jen's show starts, and mine's going to 2 o'clock, but we're back to back on Mondays, every Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. And now I'm going to leave you a song for your soul.
Now it's going to close. Yeah. So Mike's bad.
I can hear myself. Okay, that's good.
About 10 seconds left.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a little lot shorter, but
Awesome.
he came and did some for me, and I need to do some more now because I think I've used them all. We did like 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I just changed outfits.
Yeah, right.
That went great.
Nobody
I thought.
nobody
Yeah.
would ever know
I was
that.
freaking out when I had to do this by myself because Jens can talk to the wall, okay? And I can too when I'm not under pressure.
Yeah.
But,
Oh,
you know,
you're great.
I feel good about
You
it.
did great.
But I was like, oh shit, you're not going to be able to be there? What?
Oh, you were great.
Yeah. Curveballs,
Yeah.
always.
Hey, it's okay. It made me step out again, step on out.
Yeah, right.
Out of my,
It's all
I'm
about
out of my
living
comfort
that's the
zone
hardest
almost
thing to
every
do.
day. Do what?
That's the hardest thing to do. Is just be comfortable doing it on your own. Like
Yeah.
that gets tricky sometimes.
But this was my niece's idea. I was talking to her. She called me. She's in London. She goes,